Hey there, Regina Anley here, and it is time for Tips and Tricks Tuesday. This week is part one of Biz Tech 101. What is Biz Tech 101? Business tech is all about that hardware and software that you need. It's kind of required in order for you to run a successful business. Now, chances are pretty good you already have a computer and you already have some stuff. The question is it the stuff that you need to help you create and sustain a successful business? So we're going to start with hardware. And then next week, we're going to talk about the applications and all the other software and stuff that you need to go along. When it comes to the hardware, the main piece of hardware, let's face it, is your computer, right? So chances are pretty good you're sitting in front of your computer watching this, or you could be watching it on your cell phone or maybe an iPad or some other kind of pad. So there's all kinds of different things that are out there. However, most people will be watching this on a computer. And your computer is that central hub, right? It's that main piece of hardware that you use for your business. So when it comes to choosing a computer for your business, you know, there's PCs and then there's Mac. So first you need to decide, are you a PC person or are you a Mac person? Personally, I have a little bit of both. And you need to decide what's going to work best for your business. Go with what you know. So depending on what you do, basically PCs and Macs at this point in time, they're running neck and neck as far as the capabilities and what they can do. You know, some people will say, well, Macs don't get viruses like PCs do. That's not true. Macs get viruses too. And you know, they say Macs don't break down. Guess what? They're running with the same hardware that PCs are running. They still have a hard drive. They still have the same stuff that a PC does. So they can break down just as easy as a PC can. So when it comes to PC or Mac, it doesn't actually really matter. Which one do you like? If you like Macs, go with Macs. If you like PCs, go with PCs. That's entirely up to you. The key here, though, is to make sure that you choose a business class computer. You choose business class hardware. Now, what do I mean by that? When it comes to the hardware itself, if you buy cheap hardware, so if you buy a cheap computer, you buy that $400 laptop or that $400 desktop, guess what? You got a $400 laptop or desktop. You got a cheap computer. That is a low-end computer. And when you think about it, you say, well, it said it had this for a processor, it had this much memory, it had this much information. That all sounded good. The thing is that memory, that hard drive, that processor is a lower end version of those pieces of hardware, and they will break down faster. The lower end versions are going to break down faster. So if you want to replace your laptop every couple of years, buy a cheap laptop. Depends on what your business is. So when you think about what computer hardware you need, the first thing to think about is, what is your business and what are you doing? What do you need to use the computer for? Anybody who's doing a review on somebody with regards to purchasing computer hardware, that's what they're going to do. They're going to go through with you, what is it that you're using it for? What are the requirements, both now and in the future, so that it can scale with you? So one thing to ask yourself, what kind of business do you have? Do you have a business that you are sitting in your office all day long and that's all you ever do? You will never be working outside of your office? Great, buy a desktop. You know why? A desktop is going to be cheaper than a laptop. It's also easier to fix. As somebody who has owned 2 different computer repair shops, I can tell you right now, a desktop is easier to fix than a laptop is. It's also cheaper to fix than a laptop is. So when it comes to that, if you're always in your office, that's great. Now, depending on what you're creating for a business, if you're creating a lifestyle business where you want to be able to work from anywhere, chances are pretty good you want a laptop. So when I started my computer repair business, I was working out of my computer repair shop. And so I had a desktop because that was where I worked and it worked fine for me. Now, as a business consultant with my business consulting business, what I have is a laptop. And I use a laptop because I created a lifestyle business where I can work from anywhere. If I want to work from my home, I can work from my home. If I want to work from a friend's house, if I'm traveling, I can work from a friend's house, a hotel. I could work from a Starbucks or a Panera Bread. I could work from the beach. I can work wherever it is that I go because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to create a lifestyle business. So I purchased the hardware to support the business. Now, when it comes to identifying what it is that you need in there, I've talked to many, many, many people over the years about what hardware to buy. And it's different. It all depends on what you're doing. So I am actually going to offer to anybody who is watching this, if that is you and you are saying, yeah, I'm thinking about upgrading or changing my hardware out, my computer, and I have no idea because I'm not a techie. Well, I've been in the tech biz for over 30 years prior to doing what I do today. And so I know what to look for in those computers. So if you just put in underneath here, review, I will give you a free, no strings attached 15-minute review to go over what it is that you need for hardware and give you suggestions on where to go look, whether it's a Mac, whether it's a PC, if it's a Dell, if it's an HP, if it's an Apple, it depends. It all depends on what you're doing with your business and what your needs are. And so it can be different as to what you're doing. A lot of applications now are actually on the internet. So in some cases, you don't need a big fancy computer. You still want a business class computer because you want the higher end processor and the higher end hard drive, the higher end memory in the machine. However, you don't need all the extra bells and whistles if you are running all the applications local on the machine, because if you're running everything on the internet, which a lot of us are with our businesses, you don't need all of that extra power in the machine. Now, if you're doing any kind of graphic design, that's a different story. So again, it all depends on what it is that you're doing for your business. So if that's you and you're sitting there going, well, I think it's kind of time for me to buy a new computer, and I just kind of go out and check them and I really don't know exactly what I'm doing, I'm offering you a free 15-minute review to actually get you on your way. So just put in review underneath here and we'll hook up. So that's about the computer, and there's a lot of things to talk about when it comes to the computer hardware. So if that's you, put in review, we will review it because I want to move on to the next pieces. The next piece is something that we probably all have. It's your phone. That's your next piece of hardware that's critical to your business. I mean, obviously, it's for calls. However, have you ever gone someplace where you've done a Zoom session on your phone or watched a webinar, or you went out because you were out and about and maybe you have a desktop or maybe even have a laptop, but you didn't have it with you and you wanted to update something. Maybe you were out in a Facebook private group that you have for your business and you wanted to, respond to some people who have been responding to posts in your group. You can do that right here on your phone. Now, I have a business plan with my phone. Business plans generally can get you pretty good deals when it comes to phones. And with my particular deal, and now the deals change all the time, I happen to get a twofer deal that came with an iPad. So yes, I have PCs and I have PC and Mac. I go both. and so I use this when I go to meetings. When I'm out at a meeting and maybe I'm meeting somebody at Panera Bread or something like that, or Starbucks, I can bring that instead of bringing my laptop, which is bigger. I have everything that I need right there because everything that I use is in the cloud. It's on the internet. And so if I need to go find a Word document, or I need to go to my OneDrive and download something, or go to a Google Drive and open up a doc, I can do that right there on the pad. And it's a lot easier to carry around with me. So when you're looking at your phone services, think about that, because when you look at your phone service, check and see what they have if you need something like that for your business. Again, it comes down to what are actually your needs for your particular business and for what you need to do. Maybe if you're a coach, maybe if you're an exercise coach, so you're teaching, you're training, you're a professional exercise trainer, and you have clients that are coming in, you may want to have a pad with you where you're keeping track of people's information as you're going around a gym with them. So there's a lot of really cool things that you can do with these pads. And so it can be a very valuable piece of hardware for you to have in your business if that's what you need. So again, it's a review of everything that you have. Put in review below if you want a review of yours. And from there, I just want to move on to all of the accessories. So I mentioned that I have a laptop. So in my laptop has a camera that is in my laptop. I'm not using that camera right now. That camera's over there and it's currently off. This camera is a separate camera and it's a USB connected camera. This is a little USB thing. They plug in to my laptop. Again, when you're picking out your hardware, you got to make sure it has these connections that you need if you need them. So that's another thing that you have to look for. And when it comes to my camera, I wanted a higher end camera than what it had in my laptop. Now, if I'm out and about and I'm zooming from the beach, I'm going to be on my laptop camera, or I could possibly be on my phone camera or on my iPad camera. I have choices. I have options, right? And when you think about it, what are you doing most? If you are constantly online, whether it's Zoom or doing webinars or whatever it is, however you're meeting with people, if you're constantly online, then you may want a higher end camera than what your computer has integrated inside of it. And so that's what I have here based on my needs. I spend a lot of time creating webinars. I spend a lot of time on Zoom calls with clients. I spend a lot of time using this camera every day. Every single day I'm using this camera. And so I wanted a camera that will provide me more options for what I can do with it. Now, the next thing from your camera is your microphone. Now, it happens to be that my Logitech extra camera, side camera that I have here, has its own little speakers that go with it, its own little microphone. However, I choose to use this. Now, this is a little, the little clip broke, and so I use a little clippy of my own. Yankee ingenuity. And this is just a USB camera that plugs in, again, directly to my computer. Why did I do it that way? I prefer the connected for the way the wireless works. I do have a headset that has this, and it's Bluetooth. So I could use this as well. It depends on the meeting that I'm in. I may use this if I'm on a podcast, so there's not a lot of extra feedback or noise in the background. Whereas when I'm using this, it makes it easier for me to work around. Now, there's all kinds of different microphones out there as well. I have a big, this is a blue Yeti. So this is a Yeti microphone and plugs in USB. They also, I believe they have a Bluetooth version of that. But again, that's another option that you might want to use depending on what you do. If you are doing a podcasting business or something where you need a higher end microphone, there are all kinds of different microphones depending on what you're doing. So you don't need to get fancy. You don't need to spend a lot of money. This little microphone here, $15. I use it every single day. And I have to tell you, I have a cat in my room. My cat loves to chew on wires. It was a lot easier to replace for $15 when the cat chewed through it than it would be to replace something like this, which is a lot more expensive. So again, it depends on what you're doing and what you need. Now, another accessory that you might want to have is something like this. This is a phone stand. So if I choose to do a recording using my phone, I can set my phone up here. It actually flips around. If I can move it, I can switch it to be like this. And what that allows me to do is it allows me a little stand so that I'm not holding my camera. Have you ever been on a call with somebody and they're holding their camera in their hand and it's kind of like they're going like this and they're kind of making you dizzy? Yeah, those stands come in really handy. And they have stands that are just like that. This is a freestanding And it's got these really cool legs that you can move all over the place. So you can put it to wherever you need. You can actually use them to wrap around something, or there's other ones that you can purchase that have, clips that'll fit on your monitor. There's clips that'll fit on your car. There's clips for pretty much everything. So again, depending on what you need, that might be an accessory that you might want to put in. And again, this was not expensive. I think this particular one here was like $25. And it holds the phone, and it's adjustable, so I can do all kinds of different things with it. So this is hardware from a business standpoint. The key is to decide what it is that you actually need for your business. If you're just starting out, do not, I repeat, do not go and buy a whole bunch of hardware that you think you might need. Because hardware can actually be like, that black hole that kind of sucks you in, and you end up spending hundreds and thousands of dollars on hardware that isn't necessarily the right hardware for what it is that you're doing. So again, put in review under here, and I am happy to spend 15 minutes with you and just give you some options. Hearing what it is that you do, I can help you decide, do you need an external camera? Do you need a laptop? Do you need a desktop? Do you need a phone stand? Do you need a Yeti? Do you need just a regular microphone? What is it that you need for your business? It all depends on what it is that you do, that high level pieces of it. So before you go spending hundreds and thousands of dollars on hardware, stop and think about, what do you actually need? And then purchase what it is that you need that will best support your business now and into the future. Because you don't want to replace your computer every 2 years or so. That I'll tell you, if you've ever replaced a computer before, it's a kind of a pain in the butt, because you got to put applications on, you got to move documents, you got to, all the stuff and all the things that you had set up that were all stored in your computer are now gone because you've gone to a new computer. So you definitely don't want to have to change it every couple of years. If you've ever had to switch a phone out, it's kind of the same thing. Nowadays, they have a much better way of copying everything over. However, you still miss a lot of stuff. So you don't want to miss stuff, especially when you're doing your business hardware. So that's what I've got for you this week. Tune in next week, and we're going to be talking about the software and the applications. And again, one of the biggest things that I hear from folks when it comes to overwhelm in their business is they get overwhelmed with the tech. I am a techie, been doing it for years. I am more than happy to help you get to where you need to be, because the tech is the part of your foundation. And so if you have any questions, feel free to post right here or post out into the group and ask any questions. I am happy to provide some support to make sure that you're using the right tech for your business. That's what I've got for you this week. We'll see you next week for that Biz Tech 101, the software side. We'll see you then. Bye for now.